Welcome again to the Truth Guitar channel. This is Gary Hudson of Folkestone Guitars, and today we're going to make a little video on removing fret wire. I'm not going to show you the entire fret wire removal for this guitar we're going to be looking at, but suffice it to say that you'll get a pretty good idea of what's involved with properly removing fret wire from a fingerboard, which is very important because you can really mess up a fret job from the outset if you don't remove the fret wire properly. And really there's only one good way to do this. Also today I'm happy to announce that we got the hats in from Casey Howell at DAC Embroidery up in Charlotte, North Carolina, my good buddy Casey Howell. And here are the new hats. The logo's the same on the front, and on the back it has the new Folkestone script. And this is the script that my good buddy Scotty Young came up with, and man, this is really some cool stuff, and I'm just glad to get these hats in. And if you need a hat, come on by and grab one of these new hats. Let's get started. Alright, so today we're going to be removing the frets on this Taylor guitar. This is a Taylor that belongs to Brett Wellman of the Stone Cold Blues Band. It has an ebony fingerboard. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit on that, show you. Now, first and primary tool for removing fret wire is a good pair of nippers. I like these from Stuart McDonald, but this is a brand new pair, and I'm going to be using a brand new pair that's got really nice sharp fresh jaws on it. So when you remove these frets, you want to be very careful not to chip out any of the wood and cause some splintering. This is the next thing that I use to remove the fret wire. This is a 60-watt soldering, I guess before this is a soldering nail. It's the old-fashioned type soldering instrument, and this one I got from Radio Shack. It was the hottest one I could find at 60 watts, which is plenty for fret wire. And what I do is I take the tip and I groove out a little groove in the center of it that I can use to rest on the fret wire. Let me see if I can get that in front of the camera and show you exactly what that is. There, can you see that? Kind of blurry, but I think you can tell there's a little groove cut in the top, and the groove is toward the tensioning screws. So that tells me, when I've got this on the fret wire, it tells me if I've got the groove centered right on the fret wire or not. So this is a really handy little thing. You have to heat up the fret wire because the frets are glued in, and you have to loosen up that glue so that you reduce the damage that is involved sometimes at removing the fret wire, pulling the tang out of the wood. Sometimes you can pull wood with it, and we don't want to. We don't want to do that. We want to minimize the risk of damage. So let me get this in a little bit closer here. Bear with me, folks. I'm new at this video thing and this YouTube thing, and I don't have an engineer to help me, so maybe that will work just perfectly for us. Okay, I think that'll make it. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and start removing this fret wire. The first thing I have to do is take the soldering iron and put it right on the fret wire, and you hold it on there and press just a little bit. Sort of rake it back and forth a little bit, get it nice and heated up. And you can often see, I don't know if you can see with this camera or not, but you can often see the glue just bubbling and boiling out of there, because when that starts heating up, it wants to get out of there fast. So we just heat them up. And these frets, I gave this guitar a partial refret. I don't know, I guess it's been about 2 years ago now, and Brett, plays pretty hard, and he has already worn those nickel frets down the third fret here is nearly worn to the board, so it's time for a refret, because once I put stainless steel frets on this guitar, he never needs another refret. Okay, so we got this now nice and hot, I believe. We take the nippers, put them just like this, and squeeze, and right underneath there the fret wire is coming out. It's popped up on one side just with a little squeeze, and we walk it. Walk that fret wire out of there, and there it goes. Notice that Taylor puts a couple little holes here. I don't know if you can see this or not, but they right at the first fret and one of the frets up, I think around the 12th fret or so, they drill a couple of holes in the fingerboard, and I guess that's so if they ever have to get this guitar back at the factory, they can just insert steam in there and steam the fingerboard off if they ever have to replace the truss rod or something like that in it, which is kind of a good idea. But the fret wire came out nice and clean. I didn't have any chipping, and looks good. So we're going to move on to the next one. I don't know how well you was able to see that. Let me move the camera over here, because I can't really monitor the visual while I'm doing it. So let me get this positioned over here. Maybe that'll, let's see. Maybe that works a little better like this. There we go. Alright, let's try it from that angle. I'm just trying to get you to take a look at what's involved here. So let's heat this one up. And here we go. I usually like making sure that the far end of the fret wire toward the right side of the fingerboard gets the hottest, because that's where I'm going to initially plant my nippers to start pulling. There's one thing you don't want to do is grab a hold of fret wire with a pair of pliers and yank it out. I mean, absolute recipe for disaster. You will mess a fingerboard up really good doing that. You want to use a good pair of fret nippers, and I recommend Stuart McDonald. And you want to get them in the if you've got several pair of nippers, you want to use the ones that are in the best condition. And I'm using a brand new pair on this. So we heat this up, get good and hot, and press a little bit here on this end that I've really got to start with. Just make sure that's good and loosened up. Takes time. Got to be patient with it. Don't get in a hurry with these things. Right over here, reach in there, squeeze, and it went right under the crown. Now walk it out very carefully. Walk it, walk it, walk it, walk it, walk it, all the way to the end. And there's the fret wire out of there. Alright, let's go to the next one. Hopefully you was able to see that.
Ain't but one thing now, baby, makes Mr. Wellman drink. Swear about how you treat me now. Sometimes, you know, baby, when I begin to think, baby, my life just ain't the same.
This is the guitar that Brett is playing on these recordings. And I was listening to the sound of his pickup. He's got a Fishman system in here, a piezo, and it's a pretty good pickup. But Baggs has made a better pickup since this one came out, and it's the Active Element. It's also a piezo with a Class A preamp that goes in a tailpiece, and we're going to be loading one of those into this guitar as soon as I finish the fret job here. I'm real happy with the way these frets are coming out. They're just pulling right out of there very smoothly and taking the heat real well. This is also a unbound fingerboard, which is not common with Taylors. Most of them have bound fingerboards, which involves a lot more work in a fret job. This one's going to go rather quickly. I should have this fret job done, and probably by the weekend I'll have it done. And we'll slap the pickup in there and put a new bone nut on this end, and Brett will be ready to rock with some new stainless steel medium frets on this Taylor. and it'll play so much better, especially for all the string bending that he does. This thing will play really cool when it's done. Alright, that should be good. Good amount of heat going there. And let's pull these out. First of all, squeeze, get underneath the fret wire. A little bit of wood just came up. I don't know if you can see that, but there's some wood that came with this fret. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get right in front of it, and that puts it back in there, puts it back in the fingerboard, and when I glue the new fret in, that glue will go underneath that small chip there and glue that chip right back into the fingerboard for me. And then of course it's going to be tapped in, so it won't be an issue. And so the fret wire is coming out very clean. One way you can check to see how clean your fret wire is coming out is to see how much wood that you have on it, if you got any little scraps, and very little here. It's very clean. This fret wire, if it wasn't so worn out, could actually be reused. Let's see here. We got the camera at the right angle for this. Yep, I think that'll work. Alright, we're going to pull one more out and we're going to be done, because it slows me down to have to do this video work and I need to keep this going. But I'm really glad to do this for my friend Brett. He's a good guy. He's got the Music Lessons Express, which is a great music school over on the Appalachian Parkway. And they'll teach you any instrument you want to learn there. He's got a great school and a great staff, great facility. It's up on the Appalachian Parkway in Tallahassee, right across from Corner Pockets. And you can check that out if you have someone in need of lessons, or a child in need of lessons, or an adult. It's a good school. So here we go, removing this one. And I hope you can see that. I hope my arm isn't covering that. No way I can look at the video and check. I can't look in the viewer and see what's going on. Now with that nice groove I've got on that soldering iron, it just glides right over that fret wire. I mean, it won't slip off of it. It just, as long as you hold it steady, it transfers maximum heat right down into that fret wire and heats up that glue underneath it. And that's what we need to do, because it really loosens it up and helps things out. Plus the heat loosens the molecules in the wood. So even if the fret wasn't glued in originally, and some frets aren't glued in, and they're just held in by their tangs, just by the burr there. But even if it wasn't glued in, just by heating up the molecules in the wood and in the wire, you can slip it out easier. It just comes out easier. Gets it all unstuck in there. Alright, so it should be good to go with that. So let's pull this one. A little bit stubborn there. If you get one that's way, don't force it. Alright, get underneath there and walk it. Walk it. Walk it. Walk it. Incrementally. And I mean all the way to the very end. Make sure you get every little bit walked out. And there it is. Nice and clean. So we've successfully removed 4 frets from this fingerboard, and we've got a good start here. And just let you look at the removed spaces that are left here. Let's see if we can. We got to get a different camera one day. You really get close-ups of this stuff. But you can see how they came out. There's no chipping. Very clean removal. And when I get done removing this fret wire, I'll be sanding this entire board down. I'll be doing a 220 and then a 320 and then a 400. Now I don't go any finer than 400 on fingerboards, because when you do that you close up the grain too much and it won't receive the fingerboard oil like it should. So there's really no point in going any finer than that. I used to really polish them down to almost marble, these ebony fingerboards, but I found out that it won't receive the fingerboard oil as well. So there's no need to go any finer than 400 when I do a final sanding on this. It's got a few ruts from playing, and there's nothing really deep here. There's no deep ruts, so these can just be lightly sanded and done away with, so we can come up with a nice, smooth, even, level board for putting in those new frets. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and gives you a little insight if you didn't know about it. Some of you know about it, but some of you don't. So just wanted to share with you some of my work here at Folkestone.